Welcome to Unbiased and on the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining. Eileen and I have got you unmuted. All right, we're good to go.
And I've got my microphone off mute. So at least
your background sound is so much more quiet than mine.
Is it?
Yeah, I can always hear fans and stuff going from my computers and everything. So.
Oh, because I've got this massive, fan air conditioner right where I sit, and there's nothing I can do about that.
Right.
So I close the cupboard, and it might pop on and off. You never know.
Right. But it's usually probably pretty cool towards the end of the night, huh?
Yeah.
So are people swimming and getting out now in Florida?
Yeah, on the beach only. Pools are closed. I don't think our hairdressers are open. Restaurants are open. A lot of them are at 25% capacity. The mall is allowing 25% in. So everywhere you go, we don't have to wear masks. But everywhere you go, there's a lady or a guy counting people going in to places to make sure that only 25% capacity walks in.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I saw them at Walmart counting people coming and going. And
Yep. Yeah, but I'm just used to it. Today I sat at the grocery store and I looked at before I walked in, and I would say we're 50-50 now. 50% people are wearing masks, being safe. I'm totally for that. And 50% aren't. But I noticed a big population difference where I live. The people wearing the masks were like 60 and above, and the people not wearing masks were like 60 and under. So it really is, and I don't blame them because it hit the elderly quite hard. So that makes sense.
But the way the masks work, it's actually better if it was the opposite, right?
Absolutely, completely the opposite. But nobody goes there because, even the doctors say, well, masks don't really work unless you're sick. They help prevent you infecting other people.
Right.
So to have all the healthy people wearing masks, even doctors say that's not really going to do anything. Even the CDC could not mandate it because there's so many studies showing that they're not effective in preventing infection, and that you actually start to breathe in like bacteria if your mask gets dirty, and it cuts off your oxygen. So you're breathing in the carbon dioxide. Is that what you breathe out? Yeah, carbon dioxide.
Or carbon monoxide, is it?
Is it monoxide or dioxide? I never remember.
Yeah.
Which one does a plant do and which one does a human do?
Well, I know the car does carbon monoxide, which is the deadly stuff. So I don't know.
So it's probably dioxide then coming from the burning up of oxygen. So you inhale oxygen and you exhale. Somebody will tell us in the chat that I can't see. They know everything.
We got our little think tank here, don't we?
We got our think tank. Like we could be playing, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire with this group.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's definitely, everybody knows what we're talking about, even if we're not getting the name right.
Well, I saw some really wonderful, awesome, cool things. Thanks to you. You sent it to me. The Project Veritas video showing CBS. I'm allowed to say it because it's not considered FN. It's not, because it's been verified. And they staged corona testing outside of a hospital, and they didn't have any people there. So they just brought in workers, nurses and doctors and staff and said, can you line up here and just pretend to be patients seeking coronavirus tests?
Yeah.
And then you sent me the Project Veritas video with somebody undercover, like Patrick from our community. He's always got his phone on at his hip, and he's walking through Walmart and he's talking to people. And I'm like, it's like being with him through his town when he does that. And Walmart put down arrows and said, you may not enter this aisle from here. You must follow the arrow and zigzag in and out. But so he would go to the end of the arrow, and some lady would be trying to come in the wrong way with her cart, and he'd go, look, read the sign. It says do not enter. And she'd go, oh my God, and try to turn around. He goes, no, that's nonsense. I'm just kidding. You come in the do not enter. Break the rules. Go on.
What were people doing? Just laughing and
Laughing at him and laughing with him. And then two young guys, we're walking another way, and he goes, look, have you seen these arrows telling us which way we can and cannot enter the aisles? And they were just like, you got to be kidding me. Talk about micromanagement. You can't even walk up and down the aisles unless you enter from the right direction. It's amazing.
It's crazy, isn't it?
It's crazy funny. But the good news, you sent me the Project Veritas, and it showed CBS staging. They call it staging news. They won't, when they do it, they won't use the F word.
Right.
F news. They won't say that word. They're staging it. So when we say something like, oh, GMOs are bad for you, well, that's considered FN. That's just FN. But when they set up an entire non-story and pretend like it's the news, that's called staging.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's, yeah, what's the difference? It's totally like spinning it, you know what I mean?
What's the difference? So I saw that and I thought, yeah, okay, but I'm not surprised from Project Veritas, because they leaked a few things, like with the WikiLeaks and Clinton and Trump. They were pretty good during the last election. And then I'm not a big fan of Fox News, that, or CNN or MSNBC. Fox News aired it over and over and over again and said, look, Trump's right when he shouts out at these people. He goes, fake news, and it'll be CNN or MSNBC. And they aired it. And I thought, wow, one network airing the staging of another news network.
Yeah.
I thought that was a good sign.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
For waking people up.
Yeah, because a lot of times they'll cover for each other.
They cover for each other.
Yeah.
So I took that as a huge good sign that they were telling on each other, because I thought they were all in bed with the same companies and the same people giving you the same news, right?
Right.
So I didn't think anyone was willing to let the cat out of the bag in terms of giving truth.
Well, I think that it's something that, while, like the Mandela Effect, you'll feel like you've got this perfect Mandela Effect to present to someone that you're like, they'll know, right? And then you get there and they don't, right? So it's like you've got this nail in the coffin that they show that they completely staged and presented something in a way that was untrue. That's the
completely
bottom line.
Untrue.
Completely untrue.
From top to bottom.
But they got regular average people to participate. So how do they do that? So this is sort of how I think it goes. And I think that for this very reason, this is why it's not quite the nail in the coffin for a lot of people, because they understand, like, when it comes to staging a shot, you can say something like, well, we want people to see which direction the car should flow, and we want to kind of demonstrate, we're doing a public service thing. So you can completely reframe this whole thing to sound like you were doing it out of the kindness of your heart.
Which is what CBS and the Cherry Creek Hospital, if that's what it was called, that's what they did. At first they came out and said, hey, we were just doing this, and then they had to backtrack on that because people contacted them for interviews, yeah. Project Veritas, and said, so let me get this straight. You pulled doctors and nurses off their duty and away from patients to
go
pretend
be actors,
to be patients lining up for a test. And then they went, oh, I guess that doesn't sound so good. So then they apologized. Then they said, we were doing the Good Samaritan thing. We were just, whatever. I don't know how they were trying to kind of say what we did was okay.
Right.
And then they apologized, because you can't really take doctors and nurses away from patients to go stand outside and take their scrubs off so they look like people.
Right.
You can't justify that.
Driving their own vehicle and to
Yeah, but you know what? Nobody talks about the DARPA law, DARPA. 2012, signed in 2013. Not, Obama wasn't a bad guy and Trump's a good guy. They're all bad guys, or they're all good guys, because they're all run by the same people, basically the families that run the banks. We don't even know who those families are. They're so secretive. They just don't want their names rolling off of people's tongues for obvious reasons, if you look at history. And he signed the law into order in 2013 that made it legal for the American government to lie to the people. Before that, it was always illegal for the government to lie. How do they lie to us? Through mainstream media. So when they discovered that there were no weapons of mass destruction and we went to war on a lark, then they had to reverse the statutes and laws that prevented the government from lying to us, and they made it legal for the government to lie. Now, people should be talking about that law. If they don't like news being staged, they shouldn't talk about, media staging the news again. They should talk about that law and reverse it. They need to reverse that law and make it illegal for the government to lie to us. Then they can't stage the news anymore, at least not under the orders of the government.
So so this law, this DARPA law, so how is it exactly written? They can lie about anything, or does it have to have national security implications?
Yeah, you see, you could have written it. That's exactly what it has to be. It has this, I've read it twice and I still haven't memorized it. It's very short, and it was probably tagged on to like some agriculture bill, right? It was part of the DARPA law, and it was said that the American government may lie to the American people in the interests of national security. What isn't national security? The assassination of a president like Kennedy, lie. That's in, national security. A virus, you could consider that national security too, with all these problems with China.
Yeah, they're considering that we're at war and stuff right now. So yeah, that's national security.
So tomorrow I'm going to spread around another video. I wanted to take a break from it, but I couldn't help myself. Have you ever watched Really Graceful?
Is that a YouTuber?
And she's got red hair and she's got a really soft voice, kind of like Dana Ashley. Have you heard of her?
Yes.
So she's kind of like Dana Ashley, but without the Christian focus. I like them both in terms of investigative skills. Really Graceful put out a video with facts that link Fauci directly to the Wuhan lab through his work with the Gates Institute.
What's her name one more time?
Fauci, Dr. Fauci.
No, the YouTuber.
It's called Really Graceful, and she does it in one word, all lower letters.
Does she have a name she goes by?
Really Graceful.
Oh, okay. So she doesn't use a real name.
Her name's Grace. I don't know what her last name is.
Okay.
I know she's in Texas, and I know she's a mother, and I know she got really worried when everybody started saying that she was Q. Because remember when they started tying the information to key players on the internet?
Right.
She was one of them.
Okay. I was just wondering if there's one of them that looks like Kennedy from, I don't know, MTV. I don't know if you remember Kennedy back in the 80s, the girl with the glasses.
That could be her, because I never watched MTV in the 80s. Okay. I was doing something else. So I missed that.
Okay. So just thinking out
loud. Red hair, really pretty, really soft.
Is she the one that holds up the paper with the different words, like CH is going to be China and this is going to be
I don't think so.
Okay,
I don't think so.
I've seen so many different people, though.
Well, she Really Graceful tied in one of her most recent videos, maybe it's the most recent video, because she only does like 1 or 2 a month, but they're so well researched. She tied Dr. Fauci to the Wuhan lab. She tied the Gates Foundation to Dr. Fauci, and she tied both of them to AIDS research and Jeffrey Epstein. And I'm like, what? How does Jeffrey Epstein, who she says, by the way, did not kill himself, which was kind of funny when she threw that in. How does, you follow this elite ladder and you follow it and see who's directly connected at each pole. And you get this amazing group of people. So I find that one particularly fascinating because it goes off track. So it's not just, COVID. And it goes into the people, the players, who's involved. What are their ties to Wuhan? Why Wuhan? Right. Could have been anywhere in China. Could have been Beijing, So fascinating. If you guys get a chance, go see Really Graceful's last video. And she puts a title up that's very innocuous, like, I think this one's called something like What We Should Remember from All of This. Right. You think, that's going to be a boring video.
But it's ambiguous enough that it's It's just a bunch of super common words, you know?
Yeah. What we should remember from all of this, and you go in there and your chin is on the table going, what? Are you serious? And then she pulls up the documents to show you that she's not just making odd connections.
Well, here's the thing. Whenever you're trying to get the truth out on YouTube, you can't rely on the algorithm at all, because if it detects what you're talking about, it's going to have the opposite effect. So it's much better to just stay ambiguous with it, with the title, with the description and everything, and then rely on the community to share it around, because it's going to have many more views before they actually realize what it is and shut it down. Right?
Exactly. And that's how I got it. You know, our group and our community, we're flipping videos left, right, center, left, right. I might get one video like 5 times in a day, right?
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
And there is a very good question. And we watched a fun video last night because I used to love, you know, anything about the paranormal. Even if, you know how they make it scary on purpose?
Right. The
I
music
even
and
love,
everything.
yeah, even I love that part of it. You know, turning Bigfoot into something scary and aliens and, you know, anything paranormal.
Right.
And I just bumped into this History Channel one, which usually has a little more truth to it than some other channels, a little bit, not a whole lot. And they were exploring all these people go missing in Alaska. And I've heard that for years and years and years, and in national parks. But Alaska, which is mostly a national park anyway, has
Yeah.
tons of people missing, right?
Yeah.
And they tied it in to HAARP. Remember HAARP?
Yeah.
We got one in, I don't know if we have one in Florida, but I know we've got one in Puerto Rico. So I was watching this and they were talking about HAARP. They go out there with a drone and it's an Air Force facility. Nobody comes out and chases them away. And they put tinfoil in their hats. Literally, they grab tinfoil and they stuff their baseball caps with it and put it on, which just cracks me up because here's 3, you know, real rough, tough guys in camo, in camouflage that you would imagine were hunters or something, stuffing their hats full of tinfoil. I just thought it was kind of funny. And, you know, they basically say there's reports that HAARP is turning people into zombies before they disappear. And YouTube is fine with that. It's got like 2 million views and they're like promoting it. That's how I found it. They threw it up in one of my feeds. So you can talk about HAARP, CERN, D-Wave, but there's 3 words right now that you cannot produce a video on in any way, shape, or form, or they will pull it down. Right?
There's a small selection that will for sure get you pulled down right away.
For sure get you pulled down right away. So I'm like, well, that must mean that the stuff that gets pulled down is true and the stuff that they leave up is just nonsense. But sometimes they leave up true stuff and they think the people presenting it are so wacky, nobody will ever believe them. So they just leave it up. It's harmless because the people look like conspiracy wackos.
Right, but then again, they almost look like they had exposed something that no one cares enough to do anything about. So it gives you that illusion that the truth does get out, you know? But
yes.
it's very psychological with the whole way.
The truth could be anywhere.
Yeah.
The truth could be anywhere. And the crazy stuff, the funny stuff, it doesn't have to be only, well, okay, why are they leaving up Out of the Shadows and Fall Cabal? Why are those 2 left up? Why is that allowed? But the Plandemic movie came down. It was so funny. I'd see it go up, it would come down, it would go up, it would come down, it would go up, it would come down. By the time you shared it, and by the time the people went to watch it, they'd go, it's down. And I go, oh, I'll go find you another one. And then I'd go find another one and I'd send it to that person and they didn't watch it right away. And then, you know, a couple hours later, they're like, are you playing with me? That one's down too.
Wow, they're on top of it, huh?
They're on top of it. And of course, I put one up, Truth Seeker 69 put one up. We all put it up and we all got the notice that this time there will be no penalties. But if you put up something again that we don't feel is in our community guidelines, then we will either give you a strike or remove your channel. So I got the warning that if I do it again, they could take my channel down.
Mm.
You get one free pass. One, and I've taken it.
I guess I better pull it down then, huh? I'm just
You don't
kidding.
have it up here. Yeah, no. You let us do that. Let me, with the little channel, go ahead and put it up for our community.
Well, I share it around wherever it is, and they have a website, so it's hard to like knock them out completely. Although you can, if it's bad enough, they can get that website taken down too. Or get it
Yeah,
pulled off
I know
of
that, and they
Vimeo,
didn't.
or right.
This is the problem. They haven't taken that website down for many, many, many years, even though it's a fairly new one for the movie. The books have been out. The people have been out. They've created a nonprofit organization. They've never been taken down because what they actually put on there is verifiable according to medical studies. So as long as they only tell the truth, they cannot get their websites taken down.
Right.
So they really have to stick to the truth. But that doesn't mean that you're allowed to say it on YouTube just because there's a website that says it. Have you noticed that?
Right.
Website's still up. But I can't say it. I can't say it on my little channel, even though they can say it on their website.
What I like to do, and I don't know if this has happened to you, but on Facebook, if you share something that they don't agree with, they'll leave it up and then add some information to it. Sort of like you get the little Wikipedia thing under your video or whatever. So,
yep.
Have you gotten one of those yet?
I've gotten loads of those, and they still haven't taken me off Facebook.
Okay. So I was wondering.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was wondering, in the notice it says something about, and I need to get one for myself to see, but it says something like about third-party fact-checking service or something. I'd love to look into who that company is and who owns them, because clearly, well, I don't know. The proof will be in the pudding if we climb the ladder to the company that owns them.
I've gotten a few, especially with the current situation. So it's really interesting because we do not have free speech, but this is not a free platform. This is not a public platform owned by the government. This is a private company. So if they say we don't want any videos to mention the color red, they could take down all of our videos that mention or use the color red because it's not part of a private company policy. That's why we don't have free speech here. But we love the platform because look at how it brought us all together and look at how many people come together on it, even though it's a censored platform.
Yeah, but them having to rely on the algorithm so much is a huge benefit for the smaller channels like us,
Yeah, because we're not getting hit by trolls.
Well, a real person will have to get in there and decipher, as long as you don't say any of those keywords that get you dinged. And
the trigger of the bot comes in and dings you.
Right.
Yeah, I noticed that. And if you don't monetize stuff, you tend not to get as much trouble because I don't know. It seems to help you fly under the radar if you don't monetize a certain video. Like if you go, I don't want this one to get a lot of attention, I just won't hit monetization.
Well, now when you hit it, you have to fill out this whole thing. It doesn't contain, this and that. Have you come across that yet?
No, because I haven't. I've been doing so much on the current situation that I haven't monetized any of those.
Right.
I'm just flying under the radar. So now it says a bunch of stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's like, rate your own video. And it's like, does it have excessive cussing? And, it has a whole list of stuff,
Wow.
And it even says one of them was something about, is it about any kind of current events? Yeah. Hot topic events or something. I can't remember how it said it, but basically it kind of covers anything that might come up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, see, those have been all my videos of the last month anyway, except one I did on sigils. I just did a live stream on sigils, and then I did a live stream on practicing our psychic abilities with psychic testing live, which was so much fun. It was just like on a Sunday. We just started, I would send them the image through my mind, and then they could see if they picked it up.
Right.
So those would pass.
Well, maybe see if you can just say, well, yeah, it does have some stuff about the hot topic current event right now, and then mark no to all the other ones or whatever. I don't know.
I figure since I'm not even know if you're allowed to say it, about $2 or $3 a month, I figure it's not worth it. I figure I just won't bother. I'll just skip that dollar,
Yeah. That's awesome.
Oh my gosh. So I do have some topics for you guys tonight.
Yeah.
Do you feel like pulling up a screen for us?
Let's see if I can here.
Cool. What we need you to pull up is the Bermuda Triangle. So if you just do Bermuda Triangle images, and maybe we can zoom in a little bit on Bermuda.
Okay.
So I've been watching these fun topics now again. Paranormal anomalies. One's on the Science Channel. and it's called, now I can't remember. I remembered it before the show, and now it's just left my head.
That show you just mentioned last night, though, I found it funny that they had this triangle where people came up missing, and then when I were looking at HARP, they were like pointing right in the center of the triangle. Did you notice?
I did, yes. Yes, I did.
That's hilarious.
That was on the History Channel. And what was it called? Do you remember what it was called if people want to watch it? It was just fun. It was like HARP zombies before they go missing.
I think it was
into
people
zombies?
disappearing in Alaska or something about Alaska disappearances.
Yeah, and it's free on YouTube.
Missing
the whole
in
episode.
Alaska, maybe. Something like
Missing in Alaska.
that. Yeah, okay, let me pull
And
it.
HARP's in the title, and it's free on YouTube, and it's had a couple million views already.
Okay.
There we go. So all I know is it goes from the tip of Miami to Bermuda to Puerto Rico.
Wonder why the screen's going black. Hang on a second. There we go.
I can see it. Can everybody else see it?
Not for a second they couldn't. Okay, so you're talking, should I make this one bigger?
Yeah, find a good one. That looks like a good one. And then zoom in if you can
There we go.
on Bermuda. See, Bermuda's at the very, very, very top.
Wow.
Okay, so most of the problem, believe it or not, in terms of occurrences of disappearances, historically have been around Bermuda, from going from the south up to Bermuda. That line, like from Puerto Rico to Bermuda.
Like in here? Sorry.
Yeah, there's a trench that's 15,000 feet deep. And that trench causes anomalies in energy coming from the earth.
Yeah.
But more importantly, what they discovered was that under Bermuda, there is a hidden underground volcano that has spewed out like thousands and thousands and thousands, like 150,000 tons of magnetite. And when they go there and they pick up the black rocks that are naturally magnetic around Bermuda, they only have to hold like 5 in their hand. And then if they put a compass near it, the compass starts spinning wildly in all directions.
Wow.
So they really do think that part of the problem in the Bermuda Triangle is the 15,000 foot deep trench that runs for 1,000 miles from like Puerto Rico to Bermuda. And I think it's like, I don't know how wide, it's super wide. Like, I don't know. I don't want to guess, but it was super duper wide and super deep. That's creating some rogue waves. Rogue waves are a wave that comes out all by itself that's 100 foot high. They can be 100 feet high. And when they hit anything in the area, they immediately sink it because they're just so big. So here's my question for you guys tonight. And it's kind of a trivia question, but it's kind of important to know this too. How many planes and how many boats do you guys think go missing in the Bermuda Triangle every year? You can guess too, Shane.
I don't know if I want to guess.
I know. It's a weird question, isn't it? I never thought of it. I'll tell you this, it's never in the news. You never hear about it.
It's interesting. I'm trying to, let's see if I can.
I found it kind of shocking. 4 planes and 20 ships go missing, never found in the Bermuda Triangle every year. 20 ships a year.
Wow.
Wow is right. And what about 4 planes? Okay, maybe they're little personal private planes, but still that's 4 planes a year that just disappear.
I wonder what's normal for that.
They said that's normal. That's the normalcy for the Bermuda Triangle. It's super duper high, and it's never in the news.
Well, I'm just wondering what I guess I mean by that is a similar area with similar amounts of traffic, like say off of the coast of New York, and you pick a big triangular shaped area. How many?
Have.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
I do. But I know the only other place that has this is called the Devil's Triangle off of Japan.
The opposite side of the world.
Yeah, the opposite side. Off of Japan, it's called the Devil's Triangle, and it has the same anomalies that the Bermuda Triangle has by making ships and planes disappear.
How actually do I get this into...
Can you find some islands north of Bermuda? They're not called the Azores, are they? Those are like African islands, right? Because this program on Unearthed is what it's called, Unearthed. They go down. There you go. There you go.
I was trying to, I'm trying to get the satellite image of it. That way we can see the underwater.
Not much land there, is there?
No. How do you get that
Oh,
view of the
Google
satellite?
Earth. That's on Google Earth, right?
Okay. Let's see.
If you go on Google Earth, you can find the trench.
Here we go, satellite. This usually switches it to
Ooh.
it, though. There we go.
Okay, do you see all that blue stuff around Bermuda? That's all magnetite. Do you see all that?
Oh, this whole large area here?
Yeah. And it's so concentrated that no compass can work within miles of it. It will just, so if you're flying in a storm or in a boat and it's dark out, you have to rely on your compass to know where everything is. It will go off as soon as it gets anywhere near Bermuda, according to the Science Channel and a program called Unearthed. So they do what you're doing. They dig under layers to see what's underneath it.
Yeah, that's interesting. Wow. Is that one airport that they get the footage of it coming in, like where it looks like it's right on the beach?
It kind of looks like it, but the one I know you're talking about is definitely Gibraltar. Is really scary going into Gibraltar, and that looks like the same where you're landing on a beach. Now, can you find a trench between Bermuda and San
Cuba.
Juan, Puerto Rico?
Oh, let's see. Okay, Puerto Rico right here. So I don't know. There's all the scarring and stuff. But I was sort of imagining more of maybe right in here, these could probably look pretty vicious when you're zoomed in on them.
Yeah, like little mountains under the water.
Yeah, it almost looks like this is lower resolution and this is higher resolution. Like they haven't really...
Oh, definitely. Definitely different resolution. Oh, that looks like a trench. Go back over. Doesn't that look like a trench?
Yeah.
But it's the opposite. It's a mountain. We're looking at the opposite of a trench. You see that line?
Like right here?
Nope, over, go out and go back over. Do you see that line?
Yeah, now this is
To the
outside
right?
of the Bermuda Triangle, though.
That's what they think Atlantis is. Do you see that line? See that line? They think that all of that used to be above water and was Atlantis.
This
It's
whole
huge.
area here? Yeah.
The whole thing. The whole shebang. Especially that.
Any of this poking up? No?
Yep. Nope, it's not. But that all looks like
Oh,
Atlantis.
this is. This Hawaii?
Ooh, what is that? What islands are those?
I don't know. Where are we here? Or no, Hawaii's on the other side. This is Acres?
Is it the Azores or Acores?
I don't know. I'm trying to zoom in on it. My eyes are messed up, but it looks like Acores.
So those are the islands that this program, the scientists said what they think happened to those 5 Army bombers that went missing in like 1940 something in the Bermuda Triangle. They think that they got lost and got out to those islands and thought they were looking at Key West and the Keys, because they reported they could see the Keys because their compass wasn't working. Look at that. That's where they speculate that Atlantis used to be.
Wow. Just this
But
whole
that's
area
pretty
down here.
far from Florida. I don't know how they could get way out there. That's the middle of the Atlantic.
Yeah, it's about halfway across. But it definitely looks like it comes up and goes back down. Like it's just not above water. But man, this could be a wealth of stuff down in here.
Tons of stuff.
You can see where it's, are they
It's so
blurring
deep
that
that
on
they can't
purpose?
map it.
Yeah, maybe so.
And look at those lines. Those aren't actual lines.
No, that's what I'm saying. It looks like it's because of the resolution. Like it's not as sharp here and then it's sharper here. Or
I wonder why.
maybe it is like that. I don't know. It's just strange that it doesn't have the copyright thing in the area. Yeah, it does. There's one right there.
There's a copyright there?
Yeah, right here. Kind of. Well, it's kind of fading out though. So.
Oh. Well, if you go to Bimini, Bahamas, that's historically where they think Atlantis was because there's laying down pyramids in the water. But it sure doesn't seem like that's far enough out in the Atlantic to be part of Atlantis, but that's what they say, Bimini.
Can you imagine if all of this? Wow.
Was above water?
Yeah. Because it looks like that's how it used to be. Like this
I
is the
think it
old
used to be, didn't it?
coastline, and the water's increasing.
Look at how the water is so pretty, the color around the Bahamas. And that's all.
Yeah.
It must be like really shallow.
And I think we're running into that once again where, yeah, where it stops being.
That looks like a trench. And what are those dots?
Is it? Just trying to see if it's less resolution again, or why does it get so? No, that looks like some sort of shallower, more shallow sand or something, doesn't it?
Wow.
Strange.
Very strange. Obviously, the color of the water is different depths, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like it maybe
The darker it is, the deeper.
perhaps.
Like there seems to be
What's
like a
this?
lake. It's like a lake under the ocean.
And this gets deeper, or
I would
this
say
looks
so.
deep. Doesn't this look deeper?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And couldn't you just sit there for hours and just play with Google Earth?
Oh, I have done that, especially down in
And the Antarctic?
yeah, because they had the there's a lot of, I should have stuck some pins in it, that way I could have visited, but
Like pyramids and stuff?
yeah, there's some snowy looking pyramids.
Is
But
that finger touching South America yet?
let's see.
Not yet.
Yeah.
Because we were playing around with this in the Rippin' Rabbit Hole backroom lounge after a show. And Jerry was in there from Dark Wolf's Den. Vanessa VA was in there, and Moneybags was in there
Mm-hmm.
with a bunch of other people that like listen to our channels. And we were looking at the whole Earth together at where things are starting to touch. Like, ooh, what's that?
I just know it was a little spot like this, so I was kind of trying to. So when I was exploring this before, it was when those little wrist exercise. What do you call this? It was.
Fitbits?
Yeah, it's when they were showing how there was a bunch of people down in this area wearing one. It's like, what are they doing down here, you know?
Oh, they must have been scientists, right?
Well, I don't know. Some of the stuff, I don't know. It was creating a map. And so they made them take it down because you could see the tracks people were following, you know, like roads and stuff. It was starting to make even the underground stuff up here.
Because you know there's a no-fly zone in the Antarctic that nobody may fly over. And they'll never tell us why.
This looks
And
so
everybody
different, yeah.
speculates that that's the hole into inner Earth.
Right. I do. I actually enjoy the whole hollow Earth theory.
It is fascinating, isn't it?
With Admiral Byrd and all that.
Yep.
So it just really makes you. What do you think about that? Do you think that was?
I think it's for real because the way he wrote about it in his journals, and then wasn't there another scientist who died mysteriously, or some military man out of, saying that they went to war with the Nazis in the Arctic? And then didn't they say they went to war with aliens there too?
Are you talking about after Germany went down there and after?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Some really strange things came out of there. And I think the guy claiming that they went to war with aliens in the Arctic, they said he jumped out of a window, and everybody says he was pushed. I'm not laughing. I'm just like,
yeah.
how can you know? Did he jump? Was he pushed? We shall never know. Only that poor man knows.
So sad. Yeah, I know there's a ski resort down here because you could tell.
What?
Yeah, you could zoom in on it.
You can go skiing in the Antarctic?
Yeah.
That's a big black blob.
Yeah, it looks like it's just melted. Okay, so let me think of where it was sort of close to the edge of, let's see, that's Australia, that's Africa. I want to say the resort place was like right over here, maybe where this line is or something.
I didn't know they had any resorts in the
Yeah.
Antarctic.
Yeah, I didn't know either until I saw the Fitbit stuff and I started poking around. I mean,
Wow.
you could literally spend hours because you can go way in on all of this and really scope it out, and you'll see something that'll look like a pyramid right in the middle, you know?
I've seen that where it looks like partly like an uncovered, but a little bit of snow on the top of a pyramid.
Yep. But it's so perfect, you know?
So
Yeah.
the really weird places to look at before we leave the map when you're done with, oh, yep, that's dark, with Antarctic, is some people remember it being called Antarctica, but I don't. But now I'm starting to get a dual memory that it's Antarctica. I'm like, I remember the Antarctic. What do you remember?
Antarctica.
Really?
Yeah. And it's not that anymore?
No, it's the Antarctic. So
Wow.
before you leave there, can you go look at the boot of Italy?
Sure.
Look how close. Go in. It
Wow.
is to Sicily.
No
Now, yes,
way.
way. We're all going, wait a minute. If it was that close, surely they would have built a bridge. That's insane. The boot is now almost touching.
I think there is, isn't there? Or is there not?
I don't know.
Oh, no. Just
I
fairies.
don't know. This is way too close.
Let me see. Trying to see the little.
There's kind of a trench in there, too.
Let's see. That's 1 mile down in the corner. So.
So you can measure the miles?
Yeah, it's like 2 miles across. But we have like, I don't know, like that causeway was like, I don't know, 27 miles long down. And
Oh, yeah. Miami has really long causeways. Florida does.
yeah. So even at this wider spot here, let's see. That says 1 mile from. So like from here to here would be a mile. Oh, wait. Can I do the. No.
There were 12 people in the room, and none of us remembered Italy touching Sicily. Like,
That's
look at that. If you're far away, you can't tell that it's even divided anymore.
right. And it kind of messes up the look of the boot.
It messes up the look of the boot. And also, look at that. The toes of the boot are getting pinched off in
Like
the
right
middle.
here.
Yes, right
Yeah.
there. So the toes are getting weird.
Even this seems to be getting wider.
Yes, wider.
Like
And then go to Gibraltar, Morocco, and Spain. Look closer.
here's Spain. Where's
Oh, go south, go down. There you go.
oh, right in here.
Yep. That is like so close. That's the tip of Africa, and that's the bottom tip of Europe.
Wow.
Wow, is
Merging, like merging letters in the Mandela
merging.
Effect. So this is
Yes.
where that airport you were talking about is.
Yeah, it's got a crazy airport, and me
This must be
included.
it. Yeah,
There you
oh my
go.
God.
And many of us remember Gibraltar being an island, and now it's a peninsula. A hard word to say, peninsula. Which means a piece of land attached to a bigger piece that has water on three sides, I guess. And the last thing to look at is Greenland. Look, and if you straighten that out with America looking normal,
Oh, the
Greenland is
size of it.
now, yeah, like fix America so America's like facing us. There you go. Keep twisting it. Greenland is almost our new Arctic.
Yeah.
Look how big it is, and look at how north it is,
Yeah.
and look at how it's right above Canada.
We look at the
And,
point it's rotating on. So this would be the North Pole here. I'm just judging how
and
it's
all the
here.
polar bears have moved there, apparently.
Oh, it won't let us see the hollow Earth opening, huh? Oh, no, there we go.
But hasn't Greenland gotten big and moved up north? It used to be a little bit, there's a trench with a foot at the end.
Yeah. Never
This
know.
reminds me of the good old days watching Lone Eagle go all over
Yeah.
Google Earth for hours.
Yeah, I could do that. I'm sorry if you guys are getting bored.
No, I think they love it, right? You guys like looking at Google Earth together as a group.
Maybe later on we'll be talking about something that's no longer there. That's where I live in
Okay.
the world, you guys.
Oh, is that you? You're
Yeah,
the little yellow Tulsa
yeah.
flag. Look at one half of the Earth and then roll over to the other half of the Earth is all water, and now all the land is on one side of the Earth now.
Oh
So
wow, yeah.
that's definitely shifted for me. I don't ever remember seeing one side of the Earth, if it is a ball and a planet, being completely water.
Wow, Hawaii's just got this whole side to themselves.
Yeah, Hawaii all by itself in all that water.
Well, here are all of the islands that's popped up on my map where there used to not be any at all, and it's
Mhm.
all of these islands down here. So none of this used to be here. So
Wow. So the Earth is definitely changing. That's one of the big things. And somebody said today, or was that last night, with Raleigh, go to Helen, Frosty Love, and check.
yeah, I
I've got
haven't
to
got to
go
check it
see
out
it.
yet. Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet either. So she did a couple of new Mandela effects where they said that we're no longer on the Orion Spur.
Hmm.
I want to see that. And what was the other one? The spelling of Sagittarius, right?
Yeah, and did you see the tell on Capricorn? Is that normal for you?
Well, yes, that is because I was shocked by the fishtail on Capricorn because my sister is a Capricorn and I know her sign and I know what it looks like. And I got shocked by that 1 to 2 years ago. So I've been in this reality bubble with Capricorn having the head of a goat, the front body of a goat, and the tail of a mermaid, right? Because it splits off into two fins for at least 12 to 24 months. That's how long I've been shocked by that.
Okay, so it's good then. Let me pull this up here now that we're done with that.
Which doesn't mean that it changed earlier for me. It may mean that I popped into this reality of us then, and you guys have just popped into this reality of us.
See, I just don't know if I just never noticed it. I've got two of my kids though are both Capricorn, and they were
Ask
unaware of it
them.
having
They
any.
don't.
Yeah,
Did you
they.
ask them?
Oh yeah, yeah. They didn't remember any kind of fish tail or
Oh,
anything.
no fishtail at the end of the goat.
How would that work? That's ridiculous. It's like one of
It
those
is
Mandela effects.
ridiculous.
That's like, you know.
I'll tell you when it happened for me. It happened for me when they told me about that new sign, Ophiuchus. Is that how you
Yeah.
say it?
Oh
Ophiuchus?
yeah.
Ophiuchus?
Ophiuchus or something. I
Ophiuchus.
don't think I've heard anybody say that. I've only heard it myself, so I could
You're the
totally be.
only one who can say it of everybody I know. You're the only one who can say that word, which is a dragon,
Right,
and
but
it's stuffed at the end in between Capricorn and Sagittarius, or at the end of Capricorn. They stuff it
I,
in there.
look at that. That's so weird.
That's crazy. The goatfish.
Now we've noticed that we were looking at them earlier, and some of them haven't changed. I mean, there's some residue. Like if you like this, for instance.
Really? Seriously? Oh my gosh, there you go. That's how I remember Capricorn. Just four little hooves.
Wait, Capricorn's bride. Why would he marry someone that didn't have the fins?
I don't know.
Okay, let's see. Trying to find one bigger. Yep, that's got it. That's got it for
If
sure.
anybody is an astrologer in our room, can you tell me when you first noticed that Capricorn got a fish tail? Mine is 12 to 24 months. And in that period, at some point, I realized it when I heard of the new sign, the dragon, Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus.
Hmm. Capricorn woman,
See,
a
they turned
mermaid.
her into a flippin' mermaid with goat horns,
Yeah, this is
by the
weird.
way.
I think I would have pondered this for a while because how would that? It's not like a. I don't know. I just can't see an animal using. It's just so ridiculous.
I told my sister about it as soon as I discovered it. It has to be a year ago. I'm like, look at your sign. And she was like, what? When did they put fishtail on my sign? She was totally taken back by that.
That's so cool. Now look at this one. It's got sort of finny looking.
Dragon, finny, finny, finny.
Well, yeah. Well, it's kind of webbed, so like it's made to go in the water. Is kind of how.
Looks like
But
a
it.
water dragon.
Yeah, it does.
Okay, you know how we were saying maybe white people were DNA added later because their skin hasn't adapted to the sun, and they still get skin cancer and a lot of sun problems, meaning they probably might not have adapted yet and been here that long. Total new theory has come up. And I wonder how many of you have come across this on the science channels, that there are water apes and land apes. And land apes tended to stay away from the water, and water apes tended to stay away from land and eventually moved from water to land. So in other words, part of humanity would be swimming around with dolphins and whales, and they would be deep enough that they wouldn't quite develop all the melanin for their protection from the sun. Like when I went to the Clearwater Aquarium, one of the dolphins there had a really bad case of sunburn and was all scarred. And I'm like, dolphins get sunburned? And they said, yeah, if they stay up too long and it got beached and it was kept alive, but its whole back is scarred from the sun because they're used to being a good amount of, feet under the water, which provides sun protection, sunscreen.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So I remember watching a special here. I'll come back to us here. I remember watching a special a while back where they were talking about investigating a possible mermaid sighting, and that where the third eye was some type of sonar device to, so it's been years and I
Did
wasn't
you see
in
it? Did you see the video? I did. And they're like, is that a real mermaid or not? It could be special effects.
I've seen a few that look pretty real, but somebody could have put a lot of money into it and made a fake, but I've seen some pretty good ones that would have, probably.
I've seen some pretty good ones too.
Yeah. Other ones where you just see somebody like chilling on the rock, like a mermaid or a merman, and, and they're kind of zooming in and you see it kind of move, and that would have been easier to fake than some of the ones where you see them get into the water really fast and they look fishy.
And they always make them look kind of scary, like scary human fish, not like, oh, beautiful, like, Ariel and, Hans Christian Andersen. They look pretty scary.
Right.
Right?
That's just how it is, I guess. Anything that's
yeah. Oh, one last thing before our meditation. I've been watching, I think it's the History Channel, Skinwalker Ranch. Okay. And it's pretty cool. It's definitely worth a watch if you can get past the first couple of episodes. So that guy, the billionaire Bigelow, who owns aeronautic space industry stuff, he had it, and he took like $20 billion government grant to investigate it. And after all of their findings, everything is under wraps. It's all not available for the public. And he sold it to another millionaire or billionaire who is doing an investigation for the public. So he brought that aerospace engineer, scientist with the blonde hair and the southern accent from Ancient Aliens. Do you know which one I mean? It's not George. It's not David. It's not the usual old people who've been there for 10 or 15 years. David's not on there anymore. Just as old, contributions occasionally pop up. So they brought him out there, and History Channel is filming it. And I think it's episode 4 is super cool because, well, here, I'll talk about the downside. The bad part is it's mostly men. There's not an equal mix of men and women like there is at ESETI, which gives you that male and feminine balance. And they're all running around in camo with guns and lasers, and they're turning it into war games because, like ESETI with Mount Adams, they have a lot of activity out there. And as I'm watching it, I'm realizing it. Holy moly, this is exactly the same activity that we experienced at ESETI. Do you remember that beam of light that came down and people took a picture of it with us?
Oh, right, yeah.
They caught the beam of light coming down on the mountain in front of them, just like that. But there were no people underneath it, like you and I were like underneath it, right. Literally. And somebody got a picture as the beam of light came down.
Right.
So I've seen the beam of light there. They're getting the super, super luminescent, like stars that either blink in and out or move across the sky, just like you see at ESETI.
Right. Now,
No
are they freaking out
different.
about it though, or?
Yes, they are freaking out about it. Not only that, but they're going, I'm getting dizzy, except the guy with his head swells, and that's a bit concerning. So I'm sad for the guy whose head swells and he has to go to the ER room. But the other guy is like, well, I've been out here. He's the head of security. He's been out there for years. He's never seen a UFO, but he's out at Skinwalker Ranch, which is known for UFO activity. And when he finally gets to see one, he feels sick to his stomach and his heart's racing. And all the guys run around him like, ooh, were you hit with an energy beam? And I'm like, no, you're afraid. When your heart starts pounding and your blood pressure goes up and you feel sick to your stomach, it's because you're scared.
Yeah.
He's having a panic attack because he saw a UFO.
So what do you think? That's kind of how I felt about that episode you told me about on the History Channel with Harp. I felt like the one guy, he just let it get to his head, He saw the readings. He was like, I don't think I feel good. And then it doesn't take long to spiral out of control. We are so powerful. We can literally give ourselves this nightmarish experience with our own mind. You know what I'm saying?
We can get sick very easily when we're scared.
Yeah.
Same thing. And so these guys are running around Skinwalker, and there's barbed wire everywhere, and there's like security cameras everywhere, and it's like all done like an army exercise. So of course the aliens aren't going to come down and dance with them in the plasma like they did with us and John Binney and Shiny and Nancy, and they're not going to be like, it was like at ESETI. There's crystals everywhere, and meditation and prayer and singing and laughing and dancing and playing, right? Frisbee at night, right? With the glow in the dark stuff.
Yeah.
And at this other place, it's all guns and lasers and cameras and it's fear. And these poor guys are running around scaring the bejesus out of themselves. I don't know if you're allowed to say that word, but that's what they're doing.
Right. Wow. And that's the one thing. It was cool because in our group, any one of us by ourselves might have been sort of afraid to be kind of wandering around out there, but
yeah,
I felt so safe in a group. I felt
so safe in the group.
Yeah.
You know who I found out there wandering around all the time? Shiny Roberts. I heard her last night. I'm following her in her Hobbit house building. I can't wait till she actually builds her Hobbit house and goes inside of it, an underground greenhouse, right? And I would just go out there, and there she'd be. I'd always meet her alone on the edge of the field. And I'm like, what are you doing here? She's like, I don't know. I just came out here to see what's going on. She has no fear. All alone. Just coming out to see if there's any aliens around or Bigfoot. Right?
No, she wasn't armed or anything either.
No, absolutely not. In fact, when we saw this plasma mist roll in, we were like, "Oh man, I can't go in that. I have a child. I've got a daughter." And then John has kids, Nancy has a son. We're like, "No, we can't go in either because we're thinking Bermuda Triangle. You go in and you come out somewhere else." And Shiny goes, "I don't have any kids." Boom! She jumps in. She jumps right into a plasma cloud in the middle of a field. And then she says, "Look, I'm still here." And her fingers started trailing like dust, like everybody was LSD. And we're like, whoa. And Nancy was in. And then John. And I think I finally went, okay, in for a penny, in for a pound. I'm getting in there too.
And for all you know, you guys got out in another parallel universe that looks just like the last one.
That could have happened. How would I know?
Some people say it's happening all the time.
Yeah.
Shifting all the time,
Cynthia Sue Larson, shifting all the time, moment to moment to moment, popping in and out of reality. And I'm doing this exercise. I think I told you guys last week. I'm probably repeating myself. Where I walk the dogs, and then there's a bridge. And when I go over the bridge, I go into the best possible timeline for my daughter. And then with the best possible timeline for me. But I always put her timeline first now because she's so young. And, it's an age thing. So I'm like, make it the best possible timeline for my daughter with my best possible timeline. But I don't stop there. And I go on Earth's best possible timeline. I want to have the best experience on Earth, and it has to be a good version of Earth.
Yeah. And we're shifting now. I think it's full swing right now. I just don't think we can see it. It's like, you just can't see it until you step away and look at
Yeah,
it.
we're totally 5D now. Totally. I feel like our community is already there, and we just haven't 100% made that push away from 3D Earth yet. We can still be in both worlds at the exact same time. And eventually, when do we actually have that split occur where 3D Earth is off doing its own thing in 3D like it always does, and then suddenly governments around us are getting cooperative and media are telling the truth. In fact, Mariposa emailed me last week and said, could we do a meditation? I said, that'd be a great meditation for our media to feel compelled to tell the truth.
Ooh, I
And then,
love that one.
boom, as soon as she does that, you send me the video of CBS getting caught, and then I see Fox telling on CBS and going, naughty, naughty, you shouldn't have staged that event. So it's like as soon as Mariposa put it out there, it happened within a day or two.
Wow.
For me.
That's amazing. So
That's amazing.
I love that. So are you thinking we should do that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that sounds great because this is a perfect time to put our intentions into removing the veil for people, letting people see through the lies, see through. You know what? And a lot of times you might not find the truth when you sift through all the lies, but you can definitely see that the official thing they're sharing with you cannot be true. And I find that with most things. I never get to the bottom of what really
We never
happened.
really get to the bottom.
But you can tell. I mean, with beyond reasonable doubt that the story they're pitching to you, the official story, could not be true. Yeah, it just. I mean,
that
logically,
gut feeling, that gnosis. So, my daughter's best friend, she's like all woo woo. She may not want to be, but if she's in her house, she's going to get the woo woo effect. So her brother comes and he's like 25 and he's got a really good sense of humor, but he's never been exposed to this. So she goes, do that thing to him that you do. And so I split his aura, which is, temporarily splitting the magnetic field around a person will make their arms really weak. And it'll go back to normal in a few minutes, or you can go up the other way. And you just put your fingers like that, go from the top of their head, 2 inches away from their body, all the way down to the ground. And what you do is you have them put out their strong arm and you test their strength. And so they know how strong they are. The point is not to make their arm fall down, but they can see how strong they are. Then you go like this above their body, your hands together, straight down the middle of them, 1 to 2 inches, 3 inches away from their body, all the way down to the floor. And then you go, put out the same arm, and then boom, it's a noodle, boom. And they're like, what? How did you do that? Put it back. And then you can go up from the ground and you can replace most of it, but not 100%. And it just comes back naturally. So I split his aura and he was like, whoa. And she goes, now do that other thing, Eileen, do that other thing to him. And it's where you do the kinesiology, where you stand and you close your eyes and you say something that you know is a lie. You go, my name in this lifetime here and now is Catherine. And then suddenly you'll start to lean a certain direction, forward, back, left, or right. I usually lean back, but you have to test it every day because it can change from day to day. So I go, come on, close your eyes and say something. And he's like, all right. Oh, this is so crazy. He goes, my name here and now is, and he made up a name and he started to fall backward and he goes, whoa. I said, what? And he said, it felt like somebody was pushing me. I said, from your gut? And he went, yeah, like somebody was pushing me. And I said, that was you. That was your higher self giving you a message. That's incorrect. So then you close your eyes and you recenter yourself, take a deep breath and you go, something true, bless you. And you say, I'm 26 years old right now, right here in this lifetime. And then for him, yes was standing still, no leaning. For me, I go forward, usually, not always.
Into it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I lean into it. So now that you've established yes and no, you can ask things about, is the CV real? You can ask questions. Should I move to California? You can.
So
ask
kind of like the pendulum thing, though. So
Yeah.
you're tapping into your higher self, and you're really tapping into your truth, though, right?
Your truth.
Which
It's
is really
totally your truth.
important because we know that it's a very individual process for everybody, and it's just a good idea to check your own.
You become a human pendulum. And when people say something that's wrong and they
Hmm.
state it as a fact, they feel like they're getting pushed over by their own gut, is like pushing them back, or maybe it's left, or maybe it's right. Yeah, it's like becoming a human pendulum. So I guess what we want to do is say that the news media feels compelled to tell the truth, and politicians feel compelled to tell the truth, because the first one who came out with a fact was a senator in Minnesota, and he came out very brave because he's a state senator. He's not a Washington senator. He's not one of the big guys in the big club. And he said, my state has been ordered to write all deaths of pneumonia as CV deaths. And when he exposed that, then New York, then California, all the other states came forward. But he was the brave one. And he said, I object to this. We are being instructed to do this. We have to do it, but I don't think it's right.
Right.
That took a lot of bravery to be the first one.
Oh yeah, and more and more we've got. I don't know if I send you the link of the nurse, the New York nurse,
Yeah.
just having the hardest time, and it was like it wasn't CV that was doing it, was negligence. It was being overworked, inexperienced with stuff, poorly managed. It seemed like it
It
was
was so
just.
sad.
And what do you
But for
do?
her to come out and tell the truth, and then people are sending me videos of doctors going to protests, a couple of doctors, and saying what they're experiencing, you
Right.
know, it's like these people are brave enough, and the nurses and the doctors are the ones who are brave enough to do it.
Right, and I'm glad there's a few that have really stepped up and come out in full force. They've already been out in the public, I think, already. They were just sort of have that drive to do that, and not worry about,
It
you know,
takes so much bravery to do
yeah,
that, to be the
because
first
I
one
get it,
out
I
the
get it.
gate.
You spend 8 or 12 years in extra school to learn something, and you don't want to throw it all away. That's like, a big chunk of
Most
your
of them
life.
are
So,
fearful of the old Clinton hit list. Remember that? Oh
right,
my God. And they're like, I have a family. I can't tell people what's really going on. That's that fear that telling the truth can be dangerous.
yeah.
They did it anyway. They're out there telling the truth. And I'm seeing all the videos, and they're usually coming through Facebook Messenger, person to person. They're not being uploaded on YouTube.
Hmm.
It's not how they're spread. You know,
Did
that's
you
what's
see
so
the
wonderful.
Did you see the one with the police officer?
Yes. What don't you think he was? Are you talking about the army guy who made all the police step back and back off, and he made them step down?
Oh no,
Was
this
that
guy
the?
was just actually in his patrol car, and it was his plea to other law enforcement officers not to obey the orders of your governor if they're telling
Yep,
you,
I
giving
saw
you
that.
tyrannical orders or whatever, and to know your constitution and for people to know your rights. That's so
And
important.
another sheriff came out and he did a press conference, and he said, this, I will not arrest anybody for breaking quarantine or not wearing a mask, because that's going against their personal constitutional rights. I will not do it. That's a sheriff of a big city like in North or South
Well,
Carolina.
that's
It
how it
was the
should be.
Carolina.
That's like the principles this country were built on. It's like if I want to try to use colloidal silver and go a completely holistic direction with my own care and how I try to avoid
That should be
bacteria
your
and things
right.
like that's my right to do that.
That should be. Did you see the Sacramento protest? And then it was at the Capitol, and so all the police, they weren't the police though. I guess they were hired in riot gear to come down and surround the protesters. And there were people in wheelchairs. There were moms, kids, elderly people. It was such a peaceful protest to end the lockdown in Sacramento. And this ex-Marine gets up and he gets the horn, and he's a doctor, and he talks those riot police into walking away. And you're watching this video for 11 minutes, and you can tell that they want to. And then suddenly they just walk away. One of them goes right, and then the other one goes, I've had enough of this. And he talks them off of intimidating these people just for air. Okay, they weren't 6 feet apart, you know, but they were doing peaceful protest to end the lockdown. And the Marine doctor said, I've called the chief of police for Sacramento. I know him. And he said, if you bring him anybody, he will not put them in jail. He will not arrest them. He won't process them. So obviously they weren't police who were hired by the Capitol. They were what?
I don't know.
Bodyguards?
Capitol Security or something?
Capitol Security? And they came out super intimidating with their shields and batons and their huge helmets like they're ready to go to war in Iraq. And there's people down there, the elderly, people in wheelchairs, moms, kids, dads. It was so inappropriate. And this guy gets up and talks to them peacefully and lovingly until they back off and walk away. See, that's how we win. That's how we win. The people who are hired to be the thugs and do the dirty work for the people masterminding everything will just say, hey, I'm not doing it. I'm not having it. These are my people. I'm going to protect them. You know, that's what changes everything.
That's beautiful.
Oh, it was wonderful.
That's such a different sight than 50 years ago at a protest. Think about.
Oh gosh.
Think how far we've come.
In Chicago. Okay, you've heard of the Chicago protests, right? Weren't they like politics and race related?
I'm not sure.
My sister was there and she told me, she said that all the races and all the people at these Chicago protests, like 67, 68, quite famous, were extremely peaceful until a bunch of hired thugs came in and started throwing bottles and rocks at them. And then the cops swooped down and arrested the lot and people got beat up and hurt. But she said it didn't start from the cops. It didn't start from the protesters, but suddenly hired thugs came in and started acting as if they were the protesters attacking people.
Okay, so there's still some of that going on. I think we had that protest where the car drove through the people, and it seemed like it might have been something like that.
Yeah, and then that's been a while now since Soros got caught by Project Veritas hiring people through Craigslist, right? Not him personally, but he has these groups,
right?
For public policy that hired people to go to these protests and start roughing things up a little bit. He hasn't done that in a long time, has he?
Well, wasn't he? I thought he had his hands in that whole incident with the caravans coming up from South America.
Yes. That's what I heard.
I saw somebody handing out money to the people. But, yeah.
That's what I heard, but he's been playing it kind of quiet lately, don't you think?
I don't know. I just don't watch.
Maybe viruses aren't his game. Maybe he's involved in other stuff.
Okay, so what we're doing is people will just feel overwhelmingly compelled to tell the truth. They'll be infused with bravery to do that. And then actually, if we get enough people doing it, we're protected in numbers because they're not going to go.
Protected in numbers.
Yeah.
So if enough doctors and enough nurses come out telling the truth, which they are doing now, you're not going to see it on MSM or YouTube.
That's the whole problem. We can't get the media. We need the media.
Yeah, somebody's just going to send you a video through Facebook Messenger. That's how you're going to see it, right?
Right.
Or through Hangouts or WhatsApp. You just get a video.
But we've got a majority of people that's all they got is they don't watch YouTube. And then they watch news and they say, don't turn to alternative media. There's just a minefield of horrible lies and blah, blah, blah. You can't find,
Alternative media is doctors and nurses coming out and risking their lives to tell the truth.
And their careers, yeah.
And their careers, yeah. So tonight, Mariposa, thank you for the email. And then as soon as you sent it to me, Shane sent me the CBS getting caught staging, and then I saw Fox News going, they're faking the news. They're staging things now. And that's the first time I've seen mainstream call out another news organization. That was a first for me, right? You too, right?
Yeah, I haven't seen them. Not unless it's something like overly, like where they issued a retraction. So I guess they kind of did that this time, but it still didn't hit the mainstream. But I've seen
it only hit Fox Fox, which is mainstream, and then they did a couple of reports on how bad it is to fake the news.
Right.
And that's the first I've seen, because usually they just call each other liars about political stuff.
Yeah.
CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, they're like, no, that was a lie, that was a lie. And then suddenly one of them says, hey, don't fake the news. So to me, that was a first step for mainstream media to go off track
Right.
a little.
Yeah.
Unless that was con op, psyop, so that we go, oh, mainstream media is okay as long as it's Fox.
Right. Well, it seemed like, I don't know, did you see the one with Hannity and Ingram discussing it? Is that the clip you saw?
That's probably one of them. And the other guy, Tucker Carlson. Both of them discussed it. Did you see both of them discussing it?
I just think right. I saw the one that Project Veritas actually uploaded, which, yeah, it was really short, but it had Hannity talking to Laura Ingraham about look, can you believe this or whatever, and they're kind of just playing it and watching it, playing parts of it right there on Fox News, and then right, okay.
For me, that's a first for any mainstream to actually tell the truth about other mainstream news.
Right, because they really want to protect each other. It's like, we don't tell on you, you don't tell on us.
We don't tell on you, nobody knows. Okay, so let's do it, guys. That's cool. Thank you, Mariposa. She might be in the room. Desert Mariposa. I'm only saying half your name. It's like I always remember part of people's names. I think it's Desert Mariposa.
Perfect. Awesome.
I'm going to have a drink of water. I'll switch off my video first. There we go. And then I'll just put my mic off for a second. And I'll put my mic back on, and I've got kids in the house, so I'm literally sending them a text that says, meditating, silence, please. And really, they're not being too loud, but you never know. If they don't know we're meditating, then they might come out and make some noise. Okay. And I'm just going to power off this phone, which should increase the stream. And yes, I do have a creaky chair. And I got some of my favorite rocks here. So get comfy. Really just kind of like sit back if you're sitting, or lay down if you're more comfortable lying down. And just lean into whatever's supporting you. Just let your back and your legs go. And really just kind of lean into the support of the chair or the couch or the bed, whatever is supporting you. And take a nice, relaxing breath in. Let it fill you up inside. And as you exhale, let go of any tension in the body. Let it all go. And when you're ready, take another deep, relaxing breath in. Hold it for just a moment. And if there's any stress, let that out with the out breath. Just blow it all away. And take a third relaxing deep breath in. Really fill up the bottom of your lungs. Let your tummy expand. And exhale out completely. And now we're going to breathe in through our hearts. And we're going to exhale through our hearts. You can put your hand on your heart just to really focus on that chakra point. And feel the breath coming in through your heart and exhaling through your heart. Do it at a pace that's comfortable. And go ahead and draw in a beautiful, clear, crystalline color. Whatever color you like tonight, let that come in through your heart with the in-breath. Let it fill up your body and go out of your heart on the out-breath. And know that that color that's coming in and circulating is not only healing your physical body, but it's also healing your emotional body, your mental body, and your spirit body. Now would be a good time. Go ahead and send your grounding cord down from your root chakra at the base of your spine. Let it go down completely to the center of the earth. And when it gets to the center, let it spread out in all directions very quickly. So you're rooted to earth, and you've got earth energy protecting you and keeping you safe. So now we're going to virtually and etherically hold hands, and we're going to imagine doing something that we really individually love doing. Just imagine doing it right now. See it, hear it, smell it, taste it, sense it. Really throw your senses into doing something that you love. This comes from Lynn McTaggart's Power of 8. It gives you an extra layer of protection when you meditate by getting those endorphins going, coursing through your body, electromagnetic joy running through you when you imagine doing something that you absolutely love doing. And now we're going to focus together with the power of all of us, the power of one. And we're going to imagine the mainstream media telling the truth, whatever that is, however they perceive it. Might not be an ultimate truth, but it will be the truth as far as they can discern it being truthful. Let's see them feeling compelled to speak the truth, kind of like those comedy movies where people cannot tell a lie. Let them take hope and inspiration from our doctors and our nurses who are coming forward in every single state and every single country. If a doctor or a nurse or a healthcare worker is willing to come forward and feels compelled to share the truth of their experiences in order to, I don't know, just tell the truth or dispel fear, unnecessary fear, then let the media professionals feel the same thing. Feel that they want to tell the truth, to take the hero's journey, possibly risk jobs, money, whatever, reputation, by telling the truth as things really are, instead of possibly the way things are designed to be perceived for some political end or some societal end or economic end. And let's take that further now, and let's imagine politicians at every level, from the town level to the county level to the state level, no matter what country you're in, the area level to the country level. Let's imagine politicians coming forward now with the birth of New Earth, feeling compelled to represent the truth. Whatever that truth may be, if it is true to their best ability of perception, let them feel compelled to share truth with all of us. Whether it's about life off of Earth, drugs, foods, water, banking policies, medical things like viruses, whatever it is, let those who have stepped up to represent us, who are becoming part of New Earth, 5D Earth, fourth density Earth, let them join us now in birthing New Earth by feeling compelled to share the truth with all, sensing that we are all one humanity here on Earth. And let them step up and take the hero's journey now. We're just going to go silent for 3 minutes as we focus on, meditate on, intend for, pray for the truth, not only coming out to all here now, but to the truth being almost compelled to be spoken, shared, right through the veil as the veil comes down, right through the smoke and mirrors, by people and professions who have not been speaking the truth. Let them feel compelled to do so now through mainstream media and politics. So before you open your eyes and start to move and stretch, just feel the grounded safety of knowing that the truth will always out itself. And when you're ready, just go ahead and open your eyes and move your shoulders up and down. Maybe stretch your neck a little bit, your arms, your feet, and come back.
Excellent. I loved it. And I got this picture in my mind of people not only getting the bravery it takes, because they're really putting themselves out there to come out like that, and it takes
Yeah.
a lot of bravery to do that. And but not only that, I was visualizing them coming out in the most productive way. So like they don't give it to a manager that sits on it. They give it to someone who is going to take it up the chain of command and try to actually deal with it and handle the material appropriately. And I think that's a huge part, because so many times it hits a roadblock. Someone along the chain there's corruption peppered throughout, so it always hits someone somewhere that's sort of the gatekeeper. And I just see this stuff just flowing right through, coming out, and the more that
Yeah, just flowing.
other gatekeepers see it happening, like, well, it's going to come out anyway. So I see it snowballing. And
It's like contagious. Once you see people coming out and telling the truth and stepping forward, it just encourages and inspires others to do the same
right.
for this new earth, for the earth based on cooperation and compassion.
We need to start a new trendy, catchy hashtag for this whole thing, like the whole Me Too thing. We need, something short
Yeah.
and pithy to spread around.
I really feel like we've got 1 foot in 3D and 1 foot in 5D, and we're like, whoa, this is such a crazy time.
Yeah,
And
it
some in
really
our
is.
community, and me too, we feel occasionally overwhelmed. And then it doesn't take long to snap out of that and say, nope, we're still on track. It's all happening. It's all good.
All right. Yeah, it's like when you're watching a movie. It's sometimes you can get into the movie at a deeper level. They're all actors. They're all playing something out. But you still get into the emotion of it and enjoy it a little bit. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to pull out of the chaos, out of the theater,
Yeah.
and realize,
Step away from it for a while and just get back into nature, family, and realize, wow, everything's really, really wonderful and good, before getting sucked back into the whirlpool of, I don't know what to call it. It's like the Wizard of Oz. It's like, the fear doesn't go away until Toto runs up and moves that curtain, and they all get to see this big, scary, fire-breathing wizard is just a little man. Not scary at all.
you gotta love it.
Gotta love
Yeah.
it.
Great time to be alive. Great time to
This
be
is what we do
together
here.
and bringing our power of intention together to make positive change in the world. And it's been right here all along, but better late than never, right?
Yeah, we
Divine
started
timing.
early. We've been doing this for 2 years before the proverbial, what, hit the fan.
Right.
We were doing it. We were ready.
Yeah, it's like we were brought together and trained for this time now. And
We were trained for this time now, and we were all practiced. We've got our real power of intention going.
yeah, that's awesome. So thank you all for being a part of this. The more of you that get involved, the more energy we're putting into this, the more intention, the more powerful it is, and the more connected we are throughout this
Yes.
whole process. So
We're all
beautiful.
over the world when we do this, and we are feeding that energy grid in the earth, and it's that energy spinning around all of us. It's just it's so cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you so much again, Eileen.
And thank you.
I appreciate your meditation so much, and everyone being in here. We will be back next week.
Thanks, guys. Love you.
Yeah, lots of love, light, and unity to each and every one of you. Peace. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.